Here, this is
Apparently, Gen Z is like aging really rapidly.
It is mainly because of the stress. Come here. We live in a time nowadays where millennials look way younger for their age, while Gen Z looks way older for their age. If you don't believe me, I'm Gen Z. Get closer. I am Gen Z and nobody ever believes me. When my mom and I walk out in public, people think that my mom is my younger sister. Right? When I tell people, oh, I'm going to go hang out with my family, they think I'm talking about my children. I don't have kids. Right? I'm talking about my parents. I'm still the child. Does that make sense? I'll put it to you like this. Zendaya is older than me. Tom Holland is older than me.
That's crazy. I mean, I don't believe that. I'm gonna be honest.
You know what I'm saying right now? There was one time I wanted an autograph from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? I was standing for hours for this autograph, and when he walked up to me, I said, "Can you please sign this poster? It's for Jordan," right? He then took it and put, "Dear Jordan, your dad is a great guy. He stood out here for hours," and then gave it back to me. And before I can correct him, he looked at me and said, "Times were way more difficult back when we were kids, am I right?" And then he tapped my shoulder and left. Dwayne is 52. I am 26. What I'm saying is, so Gen Z definitely looks older. I'm not going to lie to you.
This guy was great in Westworld. Yeah, Jeffrey Wright, dude. Dude, I don't get it. Like, why is he 26 but so old?
It has been quite an interesting couple of days for Jordan. Come here. So a few days ago, I was explaining to everybody how Gen Z is aging rapidly while millennials are looking younger for their age. And I was saying it's because of stress. The best example being, I'm Gen Z. Right, and people don't believe that. How I tell people Zendaya is older than me. My mom gets mistaken as my.
What do you think it is? Because like I'm 32, and the reality is like I think I look 32, right? It's got to be the beard, right? You look 50. I mean, I am 32 years old, and I think I look like I'm 32 years old. I feel like maybe it's because like Gen Z has just been like someone in the chat was saying like ripping jewels or something. Is that what it is? Like because they've been ripping jewels for a long time. Is that what it is? You look anywhere from 27 to 40. Wait, what? You think I look 40 years old? Okay, shut the fuck up, chat. Jesus Christ. I'm 21, but people have thought I'm mid to late 20s way before I was even 20. Also, I don't, and I've never smoked. You don't have to skirt around it. It's because of their excessive mewing. You look 30. I think I look 32. I think I look 32 years old. I'm 32 years old, and I think I look my age. If I shave the mustache, then I'll look even younger. But with the weird beard and the white patch you have on the sides, you look 36, 38. Wait, what, really? When I have the beard, I look 36 or 38? I'm never growing the beard out ever again. What the
younger sister, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson thought we were the same age. Dwayne's 52, but what I'm saying is, after that, I didn't think much of it until a very popular page called The Shade Room was like, "Hey, can we share your story?" And I was like, "Sure, not a problem." I didn't think much of it until later I saw the title of it, and it was labeled, "Gen Z is aging like milk." Come here. It was a lot going on. And then after that, a really popular news show wanted me to be on for an interview to, quote, explain what's going on with this situation. I still have yet to respond to that. There was a few other comments. So these are some of the comments that I thought were very funny when I read it. I heard that I was aging like a pack of saltine crackers.
Aging at the speed of white. Aging at the speed of white, dude. No. You're saying it's literally a one guy moment, but I saw a bunch of other girls too who were like posting up talking about how like someone thought that she was like in her 30s when she's like 22 years old. And I straight up thought she was in her 30s. There's something going on. I don't think like millennials look young by any means. I think millennials just look their age for the most part. But I feel like I don't know. It might be I stand by this conversation being headed by millennial cope. They don't look younger. They just wish they did. And it's confirmation bias past that. I think so too. But it's the global pedophile elite. No, I think that there isn't. I think it's a makeup maybe. And the way that people carry themselves. It could also be like having access to the internet early on and like following fashion trends, because I feel like that definitely does make that's a big part of the way you look, like what your output is. So I think that's probably what it is for the most part. It's split into two categories of what's in the water, super pretty, and the other water is the beach that makes you old. Personally, I got the good water. Here's the original TikTok, not a prank, I promise.
was
Oh, this
humbled
one.
so
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. This is the one.
Tonight I was on live with my boyfriend and someone was like, how old's your girlfriend? And John jokingly responds 47. And the girl comments, oh, I thought she was early 30s. I am 23.
Like, she does not, like, I would not have thought that she's 23 years old. I don't think she looks like early 30s, but she definitely looks like she's like 27, 28. And I think it has a lot to do with hairstyles and also makeup.
TikToks of people talking about how Gen Z looks way older than they actually are. They look old for their age. And I just saw one saying that millennials look young for their age. And it's funny that this is a topic of conversation now because a couple of years ago, probably like 5 years ago, I went to Target with my younger sister. She's Gen Z. She's 10.
Yeah, I think it's 100%. I think it's 100% hairstyle, makeup, and clothes. I think that's a big part of it because you take like I don't know, you take yeah, we've watched the Vsauce video before. That I mean, I pretty much agree with that entirely. Where you take anyone that like you take that girl that we just saw in the TikTok, right?
I was humbled.
You take this girl, different hairstyle, different makeup. I mean, she can look her age. The reason why I wanted to cover it is because
how Gen Z looks so much older than they are, and they don't understand why.
Yes, today
I don't think Gen Z is aging at a rapid rate. Does that make sense? I don't think Gen Z is aging at a rapid rate. I think it's more so just like hairstyle and maybe smoking.
I want to talk about what appears to be the accelerated aging of Gen Z and Gen Alpha and why I think those things are happening, but I have to disagree with this original creator. I hate to say it, but it isn't because of vapes, because if you look at the stats, people historically have actually used more nicotine products than teenagers in recent years. Here we see nicotine and tobacco stats that the CDC reported in the 90s, which I compiled into a convenient little graph for you to look at. But as you can see, they kind of sat around 30%. And the average vape user for high schoolers is reported at about 25%, which is really sad considering we had downward trends until vaping was invented around this time off of the graph. But overall, if the stats are lower than historic years past, we cannot blame the aging directly on increased use when there isn't increased use. There are two things, though, that I think we could tie to the accelerated aging issue, and this is like the death of the pre-tween or the tween years. I remember when I was growing up, the tween years, which roughly fell between like 10 and 13, were huge. Like, we had entire stores dedicated to them. You know, we had Limited 2, which became Justice. We had all those specifically directed towards tween stores that encouraged kids to still kind of remain kids around that time period. Nowadays, there aren't really stores built for tweens, and the ones that we do have remaining are seen kind of as embarrassing if you shop there. And I especially saw this a lot with
I also think their knowledge makes them seem older. My kids know way more about the world than I did. I think that's the other thing I was going to say is that because Gen Z is like the first generation to be like born into complete internet access from a super early age, you have just an unlimited amount of information that you can just search at the tip of your fingers. I'll be honest, I didn't know shit when I was like 18, 19, dude. Even then, like, I had internet, but I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, I even then, I was like barely coherent, barely cognizant. I didn't know what was going on. Whereas I feel like an 18, 19-year-old now knows so much more than I did back then. There's 18, 19-year-olds here. Saw cartel beheadings at 12 and never looked back. No, we did that shit too, but it's different, okay?
With the Gen Alpha kids like in my family and the ones that I nannied. Second they start approaching middle school around that like 10 to 11 age, they want Abercrombie, they want Lululemon, they want all of the adult clothes. But I think an even bigger problem on this issue is that all of a sudden society is pressuring new kinds of Botox injectables.
Oh yeah, like preventative Botox. Like there's Gen Zer actors and shit in the gym that I work out at, and they talk about like preventative Botox. They know all the treatments and stuff. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even understand. Like, what the fuck?
And all
The
sorts
fuck
of
is a preventative Botox?
plastic surgery on even younger people than ever before. And because a lot of these procedures are brand new, we don't have a lot of data for how they hold up over time, but I have suspicions that it's not going to go well. And we're already starting to see this in these unedited photos of celebrities that have been coming out who have really been leaning into these surgeries. And a specific one that's become really popular in the last few years is this buccal fat removal. I don't know if I'm saying that.
Okay, I don't think fucking Gen Zers are getting their buccal fat removed. Let's be real. Y'all are no, but there is a lot of like looks maxing. Chin liposuction soars among Gen Z. The internet is super brutal. Oh my god. Anyway, the point I was going to say though is like, I think looks maxing is an early, like not an early internet forum thing, but like a looks maxing is a concept where like people, I guess, do stuff to change the way that they look, specifically their facial structure. And it's got concepts like mewing and, you know, which is your tongue placement in your mouth and things of that nature. And I feel like that kind of stuff back in the day was relegated to the darkest corners of the internet, right? That kind of stuff was basically shit that you would only find in like the black pill incel forums, like red pill incel forums, right? And now it is readily available and super accessible on TikTok. And I think that there are a lot of people on TikTok that promote that kind of stuff, that promote like the Patrick Bateman lifestyle and things of that nature. And I feel like a lot of people see that kind of thing online and want to mimic it. It's one, really bad brain rot, and two, that probably ages you a little bit too, I think. Like this guy, yeah, like that guy. Ew, I look gross. Heroin chic is also coming back. We're doomed. Now, there's also like a decent amount of good preventative stuff that I see all the time. For example, I see the like the roly stuff that you put on your face, or there's like cool things that you can learn about like actually how to take care of yourself. But then beyond that, like beyond the sunscreen and the lotion, there's a lot of weird shit that is not healthy. Okay. And that's where we're at. Over the counter steroids, like people buying steroids online. So many young Gen Zers, in my opinion, are just straight up doing, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I did Jack 3D when I was younger. I think like the FDA, we would take a bunch of fucking weird shit back in the day too. So maybe it's not so different, I guess. But I do know that if I was like 18, 19, I 100% be doing steroids. Like I 1000% would be doing SARMs, like probably.
Experiencing culture in tandem with Gen Z in a way that hasn't really happened before. As much as Gen Z likes to make fun of millennials for like the millennial pause and for, you know, cringy Instagram boomerangs, I think we're actually kind of living identical lives. I just had a really interesting conversation with my sister about this and how generations before ours like sort of peaked in high school. Like that was the time when you really cared about pop culture, what is, you know, current, what is cool, all that kind of shit. And then right after that, you would get the job, you'd start the family, you'd buy the house, you know. Our generation was not taught that. We were taught like, no, you guys are going to be young for a little longer. You're going to go to college. And then like in your mid to late 20s, that's when you're really going to be adults. And then that didn't happen. Like instead of that happening, we got poverty wages and a housing market that just like isn't even accessible, because we're also the first generation to be like internet experts. Because
wait, how old is this guy? Don't tell me this guy's like 30. Is he actually 35? This guy's older than me? No shot. He looks younger than me.
It's because we grew up with it, you know. Instead, we're like, all right, I guess we'll just go on our phones and escape from this dystopia that we live in. And so because we haven't really progressed that much in life in the way that like you're supposed to, we're just kind of doing the same things that Gen Z is doing. And we're paying attention to all of the same shit that Gen Z is paying attention to. Historically, people in their 30s and 40s are supposed to be boring schlubs that don't know anything about pop culture and are like, what are the kids listening to these days, huh? And instead we're like live streaming us playing Fortnite on Twitch. Like it is a different world.
Okay, bro, chill. What the why is he coming for me like this? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with. I feel attacked by this. Why are you co-opting Gen Z culture? Whatever. Chin liposuction soars among Gen Z. Internet is super brutal.
To go from looking like this to that. Her jawline said snatch. My double chin has always been my biggest insecurity, so I've tried literally everything, and I'm going to tell you what not to waste your money on and what to spend your money on. I started off trying warm sculpting and cool sculpting. Both were a total waste of money and time. Don't bother, you'll be broke and disappointed.
Is that millennial exclamation points? Is that a millennial ass comment? First of all, I don't give a okay? I just want to point something out, okay? I don't care. I'm old. Do you understand? I'm old. I know I'm old. Let me live, okay? My skivvy is not your prom dress. Yes. Yeah. I'm a grandpa. I'm 32. I'm basically
Then
dead.
I tried Kybella, which was, you do see, I would say 10 to 15% improvement, but it's thousands of.
What is this? I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it anymore, and what's it seems weird and scary. It'll happen to you. I mean, true. I don't get it. I don't get it. I am officially old. Okay, that I do know. Like I'm not old. I'm the youngest old person right now. What do I mean by this? Like I'm well into my adulthood at this moment. Okay. I'm 32 years old. And like up until I was like 28, I knew exactly what the was popping. Okay. I knew what was going on. I could keep up with trends. I was aware of what was cool. And now sometimes I catch myself thinking, like when I see like the Andrew Tate phenomena or the Aiden Ross W community on God for real shit, I'm like, and I immediately feel like, man, these kids are fucked up. And then I stop and take a deep breath and think to myself, like, is that just the new meta? Is that just normal to them? Is that the new culture? Am I in the wrong? Okay. Am I in the wrong for feeling like these little shit are over the top reactionary for no reason? Because I do feel like the generation very quickly overcorrected after the Trump era. Under the Trump era, the kids were all woke, okay? And they were too woke. Like, if you recall, I used to yell at Minecrafters all the time about like dialing it back. But ultimately, I was like, I feel confident. I feel happy that there's like a group of individuals that are like so over the top, woke and open-minded, and that's a good thing. But if you remember, even back then, the Minecraft standum I thought was maybe a little too. I thought maybe the Minecraft standum is a little too much in the leftist direction, I guess. A little too woke, if you will. Even though I thought it was a good thing because like when I was growing up around, you know, when I was in my early 20s, for example, it was like all Nazi shit, like straight up. Everything was Nazi shit. And yeah, I'm sure it was like performative, but I'd rather have the performative radical liberalism instead of the performative radical fascism, right? And then what happened? Since the Trump era ended and the Brandon era came back, I feel like the generation was inundated with like a lot of the Andrew Tate style toxic misogyny, like genuine fears of the other. Like the way this is always going to be reductive, but the way I define it is like it became like very red pill became much more normalized. It went from people being like super woke to super anti-woke and very quickly. And I do worry about it a little bit. And I can't tell if it's just like a trend or if people are just genuinely permanently brain broken. Bro, those rad libs became NATO stands. Yeah. That part, even that is a testament to like people becoming more reactionary though.